I am a 40-year-old single mother of 6 that has no formal education in psychology or behavioral science or anything of that nature. All I have right now is my own experiences and the knowledge that I've gained through other people and their experiences, that I have been able to create a pretty good system for myself so that I can stay on track and be confident that every day I'm working towards my goals. And so I kind of wanted to just share with you guys a brief overview of the 7 steps that I've created in my life to help me achieve my goals and put myself into a healthier, happier place in my life. So the first step that I took in creating this healthier, happier me is to make a decision. So I'm sure that you have, if you've looked at all into trying to be successful at anything, whether it's business or personal, the first step most people will tell you to make or to do is to make a decision. So you have to make a decision. There's no way around it. If you want to be successful, you have to make that decision. And you have to define for yourself what that looks like. The thing that I think I added for myself in this journey is to understand the importance of making smaller decisions every single day that support your main decision. That's going to lead you to your ultimate goal. So that is the first step that I had to take in this process, or on this journey that I'm taking. The second thing that I had to do was identify the sources of strength and the sources of weakness in my life. I think we start to live our lives every single day and we don't understand what we're surrounding ourselves with. So it was hard for me to identify what was a strength and what was a weakness. And then the third step was actually taking control of what I was surrounding myself with and taking out those sources of weakness and really surrounding myself with those sources of strength, because it's the sources of strength that are going to get you through the harder times. And we all have them. No matter what kind of journey you're on, it's not going to be a great journey from start to end. So you have to surround yourself with these sources of strength and eliminate the sources of weakness, or at least keep them at a distance. Understand where they are, what they are, and keep them at a distance so they're not impacting your life every single day in a negative way. And then the fourth one is to start changing, the fourth one was to start changing my internal dialogue. I had and still struggle, so I have to remind myself all the time, but I have a pretty poor internal dialogue process that I go through. I can talk to myself in ways that are not pleasant. I can convince myself that I am not a positive influence in people's lives, or I can convince myself of how ugly I am or whatever, just based off of what I say to myself. A lot of it has been learned by other people, by hugely influential people in my life, but for me to continue that poor behavior towards myself is really not conducive to being successful if you want a happy, healthy life. So that was my fourth step. My fifth step was understanding that happiness is my own responsibility. Like, I cannot hand over the responsibility to somebody else for me to be happy. It's just not possible. You can feel happy feelings when you're around somebody, most of the time because they're positive influences in your life, but it isn't their responsibility to give that to you. You have to actually create it on your own. And I can tell you, throughout this journey of mine, I was stripped of everything. Every person in my life, my relationship of 20 years, my children, everybody that I felt was important in my life was no longer really an active part of my life. So happiness really comes down to how you feel when you are with no one, when you have nothing, when the cars are taken away, the house is taken away, all of that stuff is no longer a part of your life. The responsibility to be happy is you. And that was, step 5 for me. Had to recognize that being happy was my own responsibility and not anybody else's responsibility. The next step, my 6th step, was learning that I teach people how to treat me. And amazingly enough, I taught some pretty amazing people, some pretty awesome people actually, how to treat me like shit. So I don't know really how you do that, but I managed to teach some really good-hearted people how to treat me poorly. And so that was a really huge transition for me, and still something that I'm transitioning into. What kind of behavior is acceptable to me and how I feel in response to that behavior. So teaching people to treat me well is important, and sometimes it's just letting people know what your expectations are of how they're treating you. So that was my 6th step, still something that I work on every single day, teaching people how to treat me and not letting great people treat me like crap because I'm allowing it. So anyway, the last one is the 7th step that I took was to be okay with taking care of me, to be okay with being selfish. I am not in any way implying that it's okay to say, to heck with my family, to heck with my kids, to heck with my spouse, to heck with my friends. The most important and most amazing person in my life is going to be me from now on. I'm not saying to go overboard, but what I'm saying is that you really are the most important person in your life, and if you don't take care of you, you're not going to be a great person for the people in your life. And so remembering that you are doing things to become a healthier, happier you, and being okay with making selfish decisions when it's in support of that or whatever your goal is in life. So just making sure that you take care of you and that you understand it's okay. I am making this decision for myself, and there's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, these are my 7 steps. I am going to make short little videos for you guys, kind of just detailing a little bit more each of those steps, and then I am going to take you all on some amazing hikes and show you how I kind of incorporate those 7 steps into how I feel on my hikes and how I am just making this a happier, healthier me. So hopefully you'll join me and we can go on this journey together.